Well, we have record levels of fog across the central U.S., a soaking system in the south creating flood warnings, and another atmospheric river event headed towards the west coast. So a huge area of fog advisories earlier this morning from Texas to upstate New York, North Dakota, all the way to Arkansas and Tennessee, an area that's at least 1.2 million square miles, which set a new record for the largest area of contiguous fog advisories across the central U.S. So pretty incredible. Not sure how far back those records go, but either way, large area of fog. And the setup is going to remain in place across the central and eastern U.S. into tomorrow still. This is early Friday morning, more widespread fog. Maybe we'll break another record. And then it's a little bit better as we head into Saturday. But this was the setup. We had, of course, cold air the last 7 to 10 days for much of the central and eastern U.S. But then this is showing what we call warm air advection, where warmer air is moving into colder air. All the areas in red are where that warmer air is moving in. And with it comes higher moisture usually. These are the dew points, of course, highest in the south, but it doesn't have to be humid, just higher dew points. So warmer, more moist air moving north over the last couple of days. All of this is going back to Tuesday, and it's that surge northward of warmer, more moist air at this time of year. The sun angle is not very strong, and that helps to produce that widespread area of fog, in addition to some pretty stagnant low-level winds. Speaking of moisture, a lot of rain in the south. We've got flood warnings across much of the southeast, ongoing system there. Fairly high threat level of flooding conditions here in Mississippi and Alabama, as they've seen already a lot of rainfall, and then there's more today, of course, but then another surge of moisture coming as we head into the early part of the weekend too. So much of eastern Louisiana, Mississippi into Alabama, Georgia, under flood warnings for the system, potential for maybe even a little severe weather as well. So areas in the south, this is Texas and Oklahoma, Louisiana, have seen a ton of rainfall, several inches plus of rain, and there's more coming, as I mentioned. Today's ongoing surge of moisture will continue to move east towards Atlanta and through the south into the Gulf, but then there's another round of rain coming in behind that over these same areas as we head into Friday night and Saturday. So rain on top of saturated ground already, and this is a pretty typical El Nino setup with wetter and cooler than normal conditions in the south, cooler because it's wetter. So as far as additional rainfall goes, 2 to 4 plus inches of rain from New Orleans basically up to Atlanta. And then that moisture will continue into the mid-Atlantic up towards Washington, D.C. as well. And then in the Pacific, we've got a big storm too. Large storm system off the coast in the eastern Pacific, and another atmospheric river event, which is that high moisture content that gets pushed from the tropics into the west coast of North America from cold air that's moving out of the North Pacific, out of Siberia. So here's moisture surging towards Washington, Oregon, and Northern California as we head into Friday, and then another surge of moisture later in the weekend as well. So a couple rounds of moisture for the Pacific Northwest too. This will be heavy snow in the mountains, but heavy rainfall in the coastal areas. Here's Friday morning. Round one of probably a few rounds, and then another surge of moisture will move in as we head it through the weekend. So rainfall totals in the Pacific Northwest will be pretty impressive too. And of course, they've had their share of rain. So several inches of rain for the Oregon, Washington coast. And then again, it will be just a torrential snowfall in the higher elevations. And that pattern helps to prop up the warm pattern we're expecting here in the central U.S. next week. You get that trough in the upper levels from that storminess in the west coast, and that pushes air aloft right over the central U.S., and that creates this big upper level ridge or dome of higher pressure that creates what could be record level temperatures for parts of the central U.S. next week.